Mistakes have been made. Revelations. So thank you everybody for coming back to Suzerain with me, your host, Parallax. We are on chapter 5, I think. There's a couple of things about this game that I was really thinking heavily about today. Over here, when they talk to you about your, where is it? Well, your turns, it would be better if instead of saying turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever, it would be better if they said the year of your presidency. Because I get the feeling that our presidency, like we're up for re-election, and there's a chance we could lose the game because of just how horrible of a job we've been doing. But it would have been better if it was like, it is a 4-year campaign, and this was like 6 months, year 1, year 1.6 or 1.5, 2 years. Like, it'd been better if I'd have known that. Losing the vote, being crushed by the opposition, or by my own party in here, like that really pissed me off. I don't understand, like, if Alfonso before me was running on a platform of progressive change, and then I think Alfonso was taken care of by a sex scandal, but we weren't. I mean, I don't know. It's a weird situation to me that Alfonso wanted to do a progressive policy. I wanted to do a progressive policy, but everyone in the party is like, no, we're just going to keep this Solist ideology. It's like, okay, so what's the part? Like, why was I picked? Like, explain to me in simple terms why you picked me. Because I really don't like the idea that we're the party leader and we're trying to get the party to move in a certain direction, but everybody's just like, no, why would we do that? And it's like, have you not spoken to me ever? Like, this is something I feel passionate about. Anywho, geopolitical trade sanctions against Sorlin. Yeah, they hurt us. They started sanctioning us because we allied ourselves with the oligarchs down here, and we allied ourselves with these folks who stole this island from them, right? Like, that's their island, but they stole it, and they can't hold on to it. They're having a really hard time with it. I don't know why they just don't give it back. It would have been so cool if us three, if Angola would have given the island back to these folks, and then us three, we demanded Dome be returned, right? Because they annexed Dome away from them, right? So this right here, this is kind of their territory. I would assume where this road or where this river is, maybe, or something like that, because usually, rivers define borders, like a radar, see? But anyway, what's done is done. We are now allied with these folks, and it said we're part of some kind of 14 nation block. Like, we're part of the West now. Like, we've allied ourselves with the West. So this all right here, all of us, we're now moved toward the West. And this guy was pissed at us because all these refugees came into his land, and it was like, okay, well, the refugees before came into our land, and we've been having to deal with that. So be a big boy. I do think we could have played some hardball with this guy. We could have gotten away with keeping the oil and having the trade deal if we joined the alliance, right? I kind of feel like not only did we give this guy oil for the trade deal, but we also joined. But it was something that we needed anyway. Like, we needed to get away from Rumberg, and I think that's done now. Like, I think the next couple of turns here, we're gonna see this Rumberg. Where is it? This Rumberg expansion. Like, I'm sure we're gonna see that going away. Like, we're gonna see that like checked off the list because there's nothing they can do now, right? Like, there's nothing they can do. If they invade us, we're gonna have this guy who's on our side, and we're gonna have this guy and the other 14 nations at our back. Like, and this guy I don't think is allied with anybody. I don't think he's west or east. So if he attacks us, then he's kind of boned. But that does mean that World War III breaks out here. You know what I mean? Because as soon as everyone else attacks, like, declares war on him, then the East is going to declare war on us. He's going to join them. All right. Start of the day at the palace. It was early in the morning after my talk with Peter. The sun was just beginning to peek over the horizons. The Maroon Palace was empty save for a few. Oh, yeah, by the way, we found out that Peter is getting divorced because he's been sleeping with our secretary. We tried to patch things up with his wife on his behalf, but apparently Peter does this quite a lot. So Peter is boned, he's getting divorced, and this is going to look bad on us because he's our VP. I entered my office to find Lucian already waiting for me. Mr. President, thank you for meeting me at this hour. I couldn't sleep anyway. Very well, I'm pleased that you chose to call me after your conversation with the Vice President, although I was already aware of his illicit relationship with Miss Suno. I figured as much. You don't know everything. You know everything that goes on in the palace after all. He smiled. Oh, on its own, given Mr. Vice President's established reputation as something of a playboy, the affair is unlikely to cause much damage. However, a more troubling possibility has been brought to light. For some time now, I have privately suspected the presence of an intelligence leak coming from within the palace. Yeah, it was her. I believe Miss Suno is our mole. She has been using her relationship with Vice President to gather information. Yep. More. I suspected that too. If you don't believe me, you can go all the way back to like the first or second, third video that we did in this series, and that guy Musk came in and was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna give you a bribe." And then on our way out, our secretary was like, "Hey, did you take that bribe?" And it was like, number one, how did you know he bribed me? Because it was a private meeting, and two, I'm not telling you anything. And from that day on, we've been very cold to her. So I'm pretty sure I suspected that this was a deal. I can do better than that. I'll show you. He reached into his coat pocket, pulled out an audio tape, and fed it into the reel-to-reel machine at my desk. This was recorded at the palace at 1809 on the second day of your trade visit to Lespa. He pressed play. I heard Peter and Livia, Miss Suno's voice. You're sure everyone is gone for the day? Relax. Nobody's working that hard with the president. Stick up his ass off in Lespa. Giggled. I heard the sound of kissing, the drinks being poured. I'm glad you stayed behind. Did he tell you how it's going over there? Do you think there's a chance they'll form an alliance? As a matter of fact, yes. He and the Prime Minister just sealed the deal. But enough work talk, Miss Suno. I want you bent over my desk. Okay, that's... Oof. This is indeed cause for concern. Curiosity about foreign relations doesn't make one a spy. And then what happened? This is indeed copper. For all of you people out there who think that there isn't anything going on here, do you really talk about foreign affairs right before you're intimate? I don't think anyone does. Hey man, by the way, do you think that's going to be a 3-to-1 split on that merger coming out of LTP? I don't think so. How about we go hit the hay and make some love? Okay, that sounds great. All this talk about that crap has really got me going. It doesn't work that way. I'm glad you agree. And that's not all. I found her resume on file, and there's a year-long gap between her finishing secretarial school and the beginning of her career. Normally this would have been looked into, but Miss Suno was hired before a background check could be completed he didn't look into her background. Just then there was a knock on the door, and she opened it cautiously. Good morning, Mr. President, Mr. Glade. I didn't realize you'd be in so early. Can I get you some coffee? Coffee would be great, actually. We left to make coffee. A few minutes later, she came back with 2 cups. Please have a seat, Miss Suno. Is something the matter? Enough pretending. Your secret is out. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Liv, Lucian has evidence. I'm so sorry, Mr. President. I was foolish and Peter was so nice to me, but it's over now. Nobody ever needs to know. That's not what the President means, Miss Suno. We're referring to you being an intelligence agent for Rumburg. Pardon me, Mr. Glade? Are you feeling all right? He's fine. What do you have to say for yourself? Mr. President, I understand if you don't want me to keep my job, but why smear me with this outlandish accusation? What were you doing in the year 1951? Her face flushed. Snow, I was working as a cigarette girl at Porto's. It's a La Shaven saloon. I was saving up so I could afford my own place here. Here's the proprietor's number if you need to double check. Let me guess, a number that goes to a place exactly in La Shaven, and he's like, oh, her? She was one of my best workers. She's great. And then that guy sends a telegram back home to Rumburg saying that their agent's been compromised. Lucian snatched it up. But why have you been asking so many questions about what I do? But why are you asking about Peter and my alliances? So eager to help David. I don't want to do the but. I just want to sit there quietly. We'll do that one. Because that's one we have evidence for. But to the truth, Mr. Rain, I was hoping to run for office myself someday. I want to make a real difference in the world. But I guess I messed up by getting involved with Peter. Now they're just going to say that I slept my way to the top. Wait, how did you know about our conversation? It was allowed pounding on the door. Peter barged in without waiting for an answer. He was unshaven. He wore the same clothes as the night before. I came here as soon as I heard the three of you were in here. And Tom, what the hell are you doing? I told you this is under control. Sit down and shut up. Peter took a seat at the far end of the sofa. He looked over it and noticed her troubled expression. God, why involve her? This is my mess. She did nothing wrong. She's a spy, Peter. You messed up big time. What? I don't know, man. This playthrough, I started out with such good intentions, but it all got wrong. It all got wrong. I just wanted everybody to have a school to go to and free health care and a good job. Now I'm in here accusing this woman of being a spy. Information that you leaked to her in your carelessness. Lucian, you rat bastard. You've been bugging my office. Obviously for good reason. And I don't mind there being tapes because I want... Because this is what's going to happen. Like, Lucian's going to be like, yeah, we were doing the anti-corruption police stuff. If anybody was going to give you an offer for a bribe, I wanted to have it on tape. Or when we do the next run through of this game, like if we ever try to like screw over Lucian, I'm sure he's going to pull out like a tape where we accepted a bribe. So I'm happy we've been playing it, you know, straight. He looked unrepentant. I had noticed the vice president's behavior becoming increasingly erratic and unprofessional over the past month. I want to get to the root of the cause. So you wiretaped your own gosh darn colleagues, and for what? Have you been getting off on this, you pervert? Certainly not. I believe that all along. I believe that along with certain gaps in her resume, the tape makes a compelling case to investigate the secretary for espionage. Whether or not the investigation yields positive results, Mr. Vice President ought to be held accountable for his willingness to divulge such sensitive information. He ought to stand trial for, at the very least, resign. If I may, Mr. President, I've been paying attention to what goes on in the palace, not because I'm some sort of agent, but out of genuine interest, hard as that may be for you to believe. And from what I've seen, this man has been attempting to undermine your vice president at every turn, perhaps with the goal of replacing him, Peter himself. That actually makes a lot of sense. Nonsense. Lucian's been nothing but loyal. Loyal to you, it's true. He could never stand me. He frowned. My personal misgivings about the Mr. Vice President aside, I would never do anything to harm the administration. On the other hand, the Vice President has at best committed adultery, at worst divulged state secrets straight into the enemy hands. Who could I believe? It's not out now. She's going to be arrested, and then his information will be turned over with a resume and a number to her, and we're going to figure out who she is. Not out now. I guess we are, because I trust him. I believe you. We should investigate. Perfect. Thank you. You're the strategist here, not me. You make the call. Honestly, I ought to fire you for surveilling Peter. I'm not investigating my own secretary. It won't play into your hand. I won't play into your hands. I believe you. We should investigate her. I appreciate your trust in me. And the Vice President, what will you do about his willingness to compromise Sorrel in secrecy at the drop of a pencil skirt? I'll decide on that once we have the results. Very well, just keep in mind you may need him to shoulder the blame for this. I'll apologize to Miss Suno and tell her this has all been a misunderstanding. We can have her running away during the investigation. Yeah, have him do it. I don't want to be anywhere around her. Thank you. I think that he'll do the right thing. Like, I don't need to be involved in this. Like, he's good to go. All right. Man, I was kind of hoping for another big jump in the economy. I was hoping for like 2 more ticks. Here's the funny thing. So I got turned on to this game by watching Shinra playing it on Twitch. I didn't watch it for too terribly long. I have so many things to do, and like most of the time when I have things going on, just in the background anyway. Um, wow, they already have the results of the affair scandal. Holy crud. But anyway, what was I saying? I completely lost my train of thought. It was going to be something about how. Oh, right. So he played one way where he was trying to stop the national unrest with the police. We didn't go that route earlier in the game, but he did. And even though it said the protests were quelled, he there was a pop up that asked him if he wanted to um, send the police back, like the military force. So he did, and then somebody immediately was like, "You fool! Like we're not clear of this thing yet. You shouldn't have gotten rid of the military." And he didn't get, like, it was like it turned back, like on here, like it turned back to being red. And I don't understand the game when it says like, "Oh, this is green," but then it goes back to being red. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is the economy. I'm not going to lay off trying to restore the economy until all of these are green, right? And then when all of these are green, I feel like that means that the economy is fixed. So even right now, when it's like here and you think like, oh, that's good enough, thank God, the recession is over. I think the game isn't going to say the recession is over until all of this is filled up. So we're just going to keep hammering that if we get more choices. Several days had passed since I ordered the investigation to my secretary. Both Peter and Liv had been acting unnaturally nice to me, believing I'd let them off the hook for their affair. They seemed to be avoiding each other in the hallways, though. I was just settling in behind my desk when Lucian knocked. "Sir, a moment of your time?" Of course. Lucian entered my office and closed the doors behind him. Our security team traveled to Leshaven to speak to the owners of the pub. They confirmed that one Miss Livia Suno had worked there. Their description of her did not match that of your secretary. However, it did match that of an unidentified corpse that washed up in Linkerg Bay 2 months before your inauguration. Where is that bay? Okay. Here. So Leshaven and here. And that, remember, that was a crappy, unused road. So somebody could have traveled up on that crappy road, pulled off here, pa-chunk. You mean, if that was, who's the woman working for me? Further investigation by our operatives in Rumburg matched Miss Suno's description to a woman named Ileana Vlance, last seen graduating from Crimsrod Political Science Institute. Recent coded transmissions from Rumburg have mentioned a deeply embedded covert agent named Vance, but our intelligence always assumed it was a man. How could we have missed all this? As mentioned, Misuno was hired without a background check. It's possible this all could have been avoided had any of Peter's blood flown in the right direction to his brain when he selected her, but none of that can be helped now. The question is, what are you going to do? Arrest her for espionage, of course. What do you think I should do? What do you mean I'm going to murder them both? I'm going to have Peter castrated. Arrest her for espionage. What do you think I should do? The standard procedure would be to try Misuno for espionage. If we do so, it's only a matter of time before the media pieces together what happened. I'll look like a fool for having her under my nose this entire time. Outwitted by a woman, it won't look good. What if there is no trial? Then you'd... What exactly? Knowingly let her return to Rumburg? That would damage us even further if the truth got out. You must remain in control of the narrative, Mr. President, starting by letting Peter take the fall. I know his actions were problematic. Problematic is an understatement. The Vice President put you in danger by failing to order a background check on your closest personal staff. He betrayed your confidence to a woman with whom he was committing adultery. Anton, would you do the same to your so-called best friend? No, I would not. I'm your chief strategist. I have advised you on what I believe to be the best strategy, but of course the ultimate decision is yours. Yeah. Alright. Very well. I shall write a statement for you to read at a press conference. I'll leave you to handle Miss Vance. Thank you. I called. Yep. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Please sit down. Eliana Vance, you are under arrest on suspicion of espionage. Please come with me. Her eyes darted around the room. What the heck is going on, Mr. President? Have you let Lucian get in your head? I thought you were smarter than all this. If you thought I wouldn't trust my closest advisor, you're the stupid one. Grabbed her arms and began dragging her out. No, no, you can't do this to me. Her name is Ileana. Lucian was right about her. She's a spy. No, that can't be true, can it? Liv, I won't say another word without a lawyer present. You look fierce. Accept this. You're a sad, old drunk, and a lousy lay. Honestly, if I were a Rumberg spy, I'd barely have to do a thing. You two have Sorlin ripe for the taking. She straightened up, ran a hand through her curls, and allowed Carl to lead her away. Anton, what the heck just happened? I'll tell you in my office. Feel free to take a moment first. And you believed him? Well, better safe than sorry, especially after what she called me. At least we'll finally have this ordeal behind us. Let's get on with running the country, shall we? I actually have to tell you something first. I want you to resign. Lucian wants you to resign. Oh. Oh, man. So, this guy bought that real estate and had that gentleman's nightclub. He was the vice president of our country, and maybe that's how he did backroom deals. Like, maybe that's how he had access to people. Maybe that's how he rallied votes. But I can't help but thinking, number one, that if that woman is a spy, and I'm pretty sure she is, that he screwed us on that front. Two, because he was trying to hide that from his wife, he wasn't helping us get our reform passed. He's just done so many bad things, so he's gone. No, but we need someone to take the fall for this scandal or the administration suffers. Yes, your philanthropy has put us all in danger. I'm so sorry, Anton. I was never cut out for this job. You did great. Sorlin's just not ready for a vice president like you yet. Don't patronize me. He grabbed a bottle of erythritol from behind my desk. To new beginnings. He drank a third of the bottle in one long swig, then got to his feet and unsteadily made his way to the door. I knew this was for the best, but I hoped my friend would be alright. Me too. Me too. Our government has changed. Order. National security breached. Our national security has been breached. Unfortunately, we still don't know what information has been leaked to foreign powers. Crap. Crap. That's not good. The newspapers haven't got wind of it yet. Man, this is a good game. Like, this is not bad. Press release for the scandal. It was the morning of Livia's trial, and hordes of reporters were gathered in front of the state courthouse. Peter, Lucian, and I stood at the entrance. Lucian had helped break the news of my secretary's arrest. Now the media was beginning to question exactly how a Rumberg agent had been able to infiltrate the Maroon Palace. It was time for me to deliver an explanation. A podium with a bank of microphones awaited us on the courthouse steps. Peter looked uncertain. I told him I would be doing all the talking today. Remember what we talked about, Mr. President. How could I forget? I was about to blame my best friend for a scandal that would otherwise shatter my administration. Peter hadn't said a word to me since I broke the news to him in my office. Together we stepped behind the podium. The reporters clustered around us and started shouting questions. Thank you for coming. As you are aware, Luvia Suvo, former secretary to the President of Sorland, is currently being tried for espionage. As you are aware, Ileana Vance, the Rumberg spy who posed as my secretary, is currently on trial for espionage. Rest assured, the traitor shall be brought to justice. Rest assured, Rumberg will be made to answer for the latest affront to our great country. Rest assured, a security breach of this magnitude shall never happen again. She's not a traitor. However, the fact remains that she should never have been allowed to infiltrate our administration in the first place. That she did can be directly traced to the carelessness of one man, Peter Vanson. She did so by exploiting a weakness of my vice president, Peter Vanson. Mr. Vanson's willingness to put his own infantile desires over Sorland security has made him a threat to the state. Recklessness, to say nothing of his betrayal to Sorland's values, has disgraced my administration. Oh my goodness. Therefore, the vice president shall be... what? Trilated for his shameful actions against the state. If found guilty, he will be imprisoned. Take him. Oh no. Therefore, the vice president has tendered his resignation, effective immediately. The clamor of reporters was growing louder. Peter seemed to shrink behind the podium, his charisma failing him at last. That's it then. No going back from this. The reporters were becoming hard to ignore. One woman in the front row looked particularly insistent. Yeah, let's give him a shot. We love this man. We do. No, President Rain just about covered it. I'm a terrible vice president and worse husband, and a sad old drunk. Are you implying that you and the covert agent posing as President Rain's security were engaged in intimate relations? Relations, yes. Intimate. I thought so at the time. Neither the president or the vice president were taking any more questions. Thank you. The reporters reluctantly dispersed. Lucian, Peter, and I looked at each other for what seemed like an eternity. Finally, Peter lowered his eyes. I guess I'll go to the palace and start packing my things then. I'll come with you. He shook his head. I watched him descend the courthouse steps to his car alone. A shame about your friend, Mr. President, but it appears you will make it out of this unscathed. Of course, there is now the matter of replacing both your secretary and your vice president. You're a little too old to be my secretary. I have a few candidates in mind. Very good, sir. We walked back up to the stairs of the courthouse to watch the rest of the trial. Oh, that's a hard day. That's a hard friggin' day. I never would have thought this would have ended with Peter gone. I never would have thought this would have ended with Peter gone. Alright. The radical Rain pins spy scandal blame on vice president. President secretary arrested for treason. Rumberg infiltrated Maroon Palace. President secretary arrested. We're gonna look really friggin' stupid if she's not who we think she is. Briefing on the women's rights situation. Let's go do that, and then we'll pick up vice president. There was a knock at the door. Entered the room with folders in her hand. The door did not close behind her. Monica entered the room and stood next to her. I was confused. This was opposite of what we had agreed on after the festival. What are you doing here? Monica turned to her. Could you give us a minute? Of course. Right before she made her way out, the eyes met with Monica, and the two women exchanged nods. The door closed, leaving Monica and me alone in the office. You could have at least told me. I know, but I just thought you would say no again. Don't we have trust in each other anymore? You have my trust always, but this is a greater cause than just the two of us. I wouldn't have done this if I didn't believe that. We finally had the chance to change things for shortish women. There's no way I was going to let the opportunity pass. So when Kara asked me to join her today, I had to accept. Yeah, that freaking Ministry of Education. This doesn't change the fact that you don't trust me. I know, I'm so sorry. Will you forgive me? Thank you, Anton. I will tell you everything from now on. Her eyes were shining. Please, Anton, let me stay. Do you trust me? Yes, of course I do. And believe me when I say, don't get involved in politics. If she gets involved in this, we have a daughter at home. Who's going to be at home with a daughter? She gets involved in this and she's going off and making speeches. She's going and meeting with people. What happens to our daughter? Don't do this. We are getting close to the elections. I can't handle any possible bad press because of your naivete. Everything is about politics. It's simply too dangerous. I don't want you to get hurt. Someone has to stay home and look after her. I'm doing this for her and for many other girls like her. Fine. Yeah. The officer turned and smiling. First off, Mr. President, I wish to thank you for pushing a degree of establishing gender equality in education. You know, this is something I've been trying to accomplish since my appointment as minister. The situation in the public schools was disturbing for me. With that said, we still have a long way to go before shortish women can be able to enjoy the same rights and privileges as men, or even as their counterparts. We've been lagging behind this for decades. Don't call me Anton, Mr. Rain, or President. And this is the only moral issue. I've seen enough revolutions in the world to understand the main driver of change: money. She flipped open a folder and started pulling out documents. In United Montana, law dictates that women must earn the same wages as men in their respective fields. My research shows that this led to about a 15.5 increase in productivity. If you could say that had a direct influence on the superpower status. Passes law ensuring maternity leave rights, child daycare centers, and tax deductions for working families. In return, they experienced a 12.6% boost in productivity for a flourishing economy. Both countries have had significantly lower infant mortality rates, a statistic I believe is directly linked to the improved status of women. Our administration has thus far failed to pull Switzerland out of this economic recession. I know. I'm working on it. So I'm asking, why not try passing similar laws? At worst, even if they fail to improve the economy, they'll still be a significant step forward for society. It's only logical. The two of us talked it over, and these are the measures we believe are most urgently needed. Criminalizing domestic violence. That's not a criminal offense. Oh my goodness. Support for working mothers. Equal treatment in the workforce. Support for working mothers. It simply isn't fair that women in the workforce are punished for having children. Remember that I told you about Janice, my friend who basically got fired for becoming pregnant? That would never happen to a man. Paid maternity leave and state-subsidized daycare centers could be key to keeping more mothers employed. I don't want to reward women for choosing work over raising their children. It's true, having children never hindered my career prospects. It shouldn't hinder women either. Monica, you always said you never regretted giving up a career to raise Frank and Deanna. And then Frank screwed us over, so, you know, good job there. Exactly. Moving on. Criminalizing domestic violence. I should have to tell you how crucial this is. It's utterly unbelievable that in this day and age, shortish men are legally allowed to beat their wives. I agree. It's a travesty. As indicated, as incidents are especially high within the bloodish communities, these people. I would also advocate for setting up a specialized domestic violence task force in collaboration with that organization, women's rights organization. Are you sure that's something we ought to focus on? The Bloods are different. They have their own rules. Monica, I'm surprised at you. We can't let women suffer under the patriarchy, no matter what the ethnicity. We should uplift all shortish women, ours included. We can discuss the particulars once the laws have passed. Equal treatment in the workforce. This is an easy one. Right now, Shortland has one of the contingent's largest pay gaps between men and women. We need legislation ensuring that women going to the same job get paid the same wages as men. We are also introduced quotas to get more women to positions of power in the assembly, for instance, or on the board of corporations. Eventually, narrowing the pay gap is far more pressing issue, as it would bring financial independence to countless lower income women. We never talked about this, but I always thought that with more women in power, higher status for all women would naturally follow. Women are starving because they don't make a living wage. That's damn sight more important than your friend Janice being passed over for a promotion. Her friend Janice wasn't passed over for a promotion. Her friend Janice was fired. I do not like this. Do not like this woman. I don't see a problem with the quotas, but tackling the pay gap must be much more urgent. Quotas are a terrible idea. People should be hired on merit, not simply because of their sex. Men are hired on the basis of their sex all the time, just not consciously. There are more than enough qualified women to fill any position you can think of. It's up to us to give them the opportunity. That covers all subjects. What are your thoughts so far? You've made a good case for all these. I'm not sure I can rest passing laws like these so close to the election. It feels too much like you're comparing Soren to other nations. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Thank you. If we can pull this off before the elections, the Reign administration will make history. Let's talk about how to proceed. I want to establish a commission for women's rights in Sorland with me as its head. Our goal shall be passing and implementing a set of laws to solve the problems that we discussed. As the commission's spokeswoman, my responsibility will be to make speeches and organize fundraisers. I will be the face of this movement while she handles the groundwork. If we can show that the First Lady is behind the movement, many women will feel encouraged. Especially those who aren't keen on pantsuits. The organization's name will be Commission on the Status of Women. It's going to be damn hard getting your laws past the assembly. I know, but even a watered down version will be better than nothing. One more thing to consider before making your decision. This could help silence any of the public lingering questions regarding your former vice president and her affair. You have the chance to be a hero. Think about Deanna in the future. I hope I will make the right decision. I will approve the creation of the commission and support your bill in the assembly. That's all the excitement you can muster. You did it. We did it. He smiled uncomfortably. It's not over yet, Monica. The true battle is in the assembly. We will celebrate once this is done. I'll start gathering names for the commission tonight. Her documents. She and Monica headed toward the door. Monica paused before leaving. I love you, Anton. I'll see you at home. All right. It was a clear day outside. Well, good. Good. Now let's go pick our vice president. We're gonna pick a young and up and comer. We're gonna pick this guy. Well, I can't find him right now. Hans Richter. Oh, good. Private donation. We just got our one wealth. Might as well go ahead and spend it. At the entrance to my office, a new secretary, Sylvia, took my hat and coat. She was a matronly woman in her 40s. She had a spotless background assisting various Maroon Palace officials. Replacing Olivia had been easy, but replacing my vice president would be difficult. Shortest law dictated that if a vice president failed to complete his term, new candidates would be put forward by the members of the cabinet. After much deliberation, this list had been narrowed down to 3. Lucian was the front runner, followed by Gloria. Oh, she's the speaker. He currently serves as a member of the National Grand Assembly. Sorely, he is a member of the USP and regarded as the leader of the Progressive Party faction. Huh. It was up to me to decide who would fill Peter's shoes. I wanted to chat with one of them before making my decision. I had just begun to settle at my desk when I heard the knock at the door. Lucian had entered. Sir? So, Vice President, glad. What do you think? All right, Lucian, you're one hell of a strategist, but why should I make you my VP? It's precisely in my capability as a strategist that I have evaluated the experience capabilities of your potential vice president. Obviously, I am by far the most qualified candidate. I would advise you not only to think about our long history together, but also about the many I had to sneeze. That the many cries I have pledged, I've helped shepherd you through. Crisis. Oh my goodness. I've helped shepherd you through. I won't say much beyond that. I believe my word speaks for itself. Such a valuable strategist, I don't want to lose you in that capacity. I don't know, the public might gossip about your lack of wife. Let's see what he says to this. As Vice President, my ability to serve you in this administration will only increase. I expect you will make the right decision. Mr. President, I must say I was not surprised at all when my name was put forward. Why should I pick you? I gotta sneeze again. I can't pause my recording for some reason. Stop pausing. Pause! Pause! Please pause. Oh dear. Okay, I'm not quite sure why I can't pause my recording. Usually I can hit the number 2 button and it'll pause. Alright. I really don't like this woman. She's the one that screwed me out of my reforms. You become the vice president and I get the votes from the conservatives. Your experience would be a great asset. Tell me, what are you getting at? As you know, I'm also the leader of the conservative wing of the party. You can see what I'm getting at. Precisely. This would allow us to pass bills far more easily, especially if those bills are aligned to my block's cause. There is no us, Gloria. Before outright refusing, I insist that you at least think about it. Unifying the party instead of fracturing it would certainly be better for the future of the USP. I want you to know that I value order over everything else, Mr. President. Being the Speaker of the Assembly requires principles, nerves like steel, and determination to uphold proper conduct. You can expect to see the same in my vice presidency. I don't think Sorlin's ready for a female vice president. You being a woman could also prove advantageous. I'm not just any woman, Mr. Rain. I was able to project order in a room full of unruly men for 7 years, and think about what message it would send. The first woman vice president in the whole continent. Continent. What support you would lose among traditionalists, you would gain tenfold amongst shortish women. There's much to gain from selecting me. I believe you will make the right choice. To not align myself with the conservative wing. A shame then. I had hoped you would see the opportunity. I guess you like the experience to do so. I wish you a nice day, Mr. President. Gloria made her way out. A minute later, there was another knock at the door. This time it was this guy. I'll be straightforward. Why should I pick you? As you know, I represent the reformist wing of the party. What Sorlin needs today is not only to catch up to our more modern neighbors, but to surpass them. I believe we can do that. No, I am sure. However, this will only be possible if we set aside our differences and unite as one. That is the outlook I wish to bring to the position of the vice president, so that Sorlin can excel and soar to new heights. I did not ask about your opinions. What can you provide me with? Very well. The fact is, if I'm the vice president, reformist members of our party will be more likely to support you and your causes. This will smooth the passage of bills and help move our administration and our country forward in record time. If you join the administration, that is. I don't think that's likely. We already are doing things the progressives like. We are already doing things that the progressives like. We need to be able to take risks and to make gains. That's only possible with a forward-looking perspective. I've stated my case. Y'all, for now, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I lean back in my chair thinking about the pros and cons of each of my vice presidential candidates. I could almost hear Peter's voice in my head laughing at the absurdity of my situation. But of course, he wasn't there. Man, we're getting nothing up here today. The only thing we got was that our country had been screwed over by Rumberg. Oh man, I gotta give away my one wealth to my wife. There you go, wife. There's our freaking dollary-do. Man, remember at the beginning of this game when we invested that money into that one stock, and the guy was like, you're gonna get all that money back, and then we never saw it again? Oh, why did we do this anonymously? Why? Anton Rain donates to support women. Will policies follow? Ryan makes donation to Shortest League of Women. No matter what you do. Alright. Gloria does make the most sense. But she did say that she will only help if it aligns with her block's policies. So she's really bringing nothing to the table. Because if she would say that I'll do it no matter what, like whatever the thing is, like they will vote for you, then that I would jump on that. That'd be great. But really what she is saying is, if you do things that I like, then I'll help you. And if you do things I don't like, then I'm not going to help you. This guy here, I don't think he brings a lot to the table. I think he's spunky, and I think he's idealistic, but I don't think that he brings anything to the table. Lucian's solid. He doesn't have a wife. That sucks, but he's solid. He's the opposite of Peter, right? I'm going to go ahead and pick him, because Gloria screwed me over. Gloria will never be the vice president. I mean, I won't be the one that does it. She'll live and die in the assembly of being a babysitter to 70 men that don't like her. And then one day when she gets too old to do it, then she'll be retired to the farm, and that'll be the end of her career. She won't be the first VP in the continent. She won't be the first woman vice president. She's gonna fade away into obscurity, just being, like I said, a babysitter. Welcome aboard, Lucan. Now, hopefully the next thing is picking your new chief strategist. All right, anything there? No. We're going to do one more of these, and then we're going to call it a day here. Lucian and I were on our way to my office. I was holding a mug of coffee in one hand and a folder of various documents in the other. As we turned a corner, Lucian spoke. These words, man. As sheriff, anniversary is coming up soon, the most important day of the Polish populace. Wantani is one of their symbols, as you know. Your presence at this event would show your desire for a more unified Sorlin. We will reap the benefits if you decide to go, I am sure. I don't want to cause further division among swords because of this. Why should I attend this anniversary? It would send a clear message to the Buddhists that your president is with you. Yeah, this will alleviate tensions. We rounded the corner. Suddenly stopped in front of the door. The plaque that had once said Vice President had been removed. The door was halfway open. I could see a few workers moving boxes around the room. One of them saw us, bowed his head, and the name tag on the door, Vice President Lucian Glade. Another handyman dropped a heavy-looking box on the desk. A crunching sound was heard from within. Be careful with that, Mr. President. This move requires my personal attention. We shall discuss the Ashoff matter later. Good to have you as my vice president, Lucian. I'm glad to have you as my president, sir. As I entered the office and asked Sylvia for a second cup of coffee to wake me up. I know a long day was awaiting me. Oh, that one wasn't very bad. We might be able to do one more thing. Lucian Glade is vice president. Rises to the task. What is this thing blinking here? What's this political overview? Oh, it just changed. Vice president, chief strategist. That needs to change. Like we're gonna need to hire somebody for that role. It'd be nice if you could just like right click these people and fire them. Just fire all these people. Okay. All right. Nothing else? Nobody else wants to talk to me? Really? It's just all work is all it is. Mediation of the dispute. Okay, yeah, we're not giving that woman, we are not giving her the reins to this freaking force, no matter what. I arrived in the city with my new vice president after receiving an emergency meeting request. I had seen the reports of a recent issue that rose between the shortest police forces and this is like a paramilitary force. MPs, if you will. The report said that an operation against a drug trafficking gang had failed due to miscommunication. It was not hard to guess what the meeting was going to be about. We entered the city hall and made our way to the second floor. I could hear these two already fighting. I opened the doors to the meeting room. The two ministers did not even realize this is unacceptable. How dare the police meddle in the affairs of the paramilitary force? It was your men who started the ridiculousness and meddled with the ongoing police investigation. Their voices were getting louder and louder. Rural security is my jurisdiction, and your men were way outside of. Yeah, Mr. Please remain calm. What is the problem? Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, apologies. The Miss Gaff here fails to understand her place. No, Mr. Lucian, you are the one who does not understand his place. If you continue to do so, you will pay for it one day. See, she is making threats. Like she went on publicly and said that I was kind of incompetent when our deals fell, when our constitutional reforms failed, and now she's saying stuff like this to him. She has been talking to Soul, Tarkin Soul, and she is dangerous. That's enough. Calm down, both of you. I'm trying really hard to stay calm, Mr. President. Yeah, if you're pushing your boundaries. Let's hear your side of the story. The Lieutenant General of the Jerry Marine was tracking a drug trafficking ring to the countryside. We immediately acted on it. Just when we were about to raid the hideout with live weapons, the police units arrived in the scene and alerted the criminals. As a result, the criminals got away. So the police meddled and caused the raid to fail. Exactly. Now these criminals are free because of it. Big words after you allowed them to escape. How do we solve this issue so that it never happens again? I think this was the last drop. Internal security matters should be handled by the Ministry of the Interior completely. We are called the Ministry of the Interior for a reason. We can't let any more screw-ups like this happen again. I want the paramilitary force to be transferred to the Ministry of the Interior. What? Woman, are you out of your mind? Looking at it from the perspective of improving our internal security, I agree with Miss Gaff. Ugh. We would reap the benefits of this in the long run. Yeah, Mr. Glade, you're forgetting who I am. Ridiculous is absolutely ridiculous. I won't hand over the paranoia first to her. Out of the question. Do you have a better solution? Whenever operations overlap, we should engage at a low rank with the local officers on both sides. We could work on establishing that, but it still doesn't change the wrong system that exists now. No matter what we need to eliminate the gray area and modernize our interest force. Now I see what's going on here. Lou set us up to create this incident. What proof do you have? There's no way that the police has arrived at the right time of a month-long search on the exact day and minute of our raid. You might be right. It's very disappointing that you would even entertain this idea. The kind of accusation is unheard of. It's nonsense. If I were you, I wouldn't believe. That's Mr. President. Heed my word, Mr. President. When dealing with these situations, you need to always look at who gets what out of it. I won't stand idly by these utterly ridiculous and baseless accusations. I don't have time for this. What is your decision? There will be no change related to the paramilitary operations. You are making a mistake. Thank you for protecting the structure of authority of the Ministry of Defense. I want those criminals to be caught immediately. From now on, working together, don't fight amongst each other. I want capable and effective members of the cabinet. Focus on them instead of each other. We'll do our best. Now, I guess that was a deal. Military, lack of reservist military, politics, outdated military equipment, internal security jurisdiction. The Ministry of Defense has a right to exercise security inside Suzerain due to the... Yeah, so I guess it would have made sense to move her, but I don't know. I don't want her having it. I think she's a bad guy. Taurus League of Women has thanked us for the personal donation. The spokesperson said, President Rain, thank you for your contribution to our cause and to the First Lady who pushed our agenda forward on the national stage. The anti-corruption police is continuing its investigation of the oligarchs. A few leads have been uncovered, revealing Walter Tusk and involvement in illegal dealings, including suspected arms smuggling and money laundering. These will be duly followed up upon. Okie dokie. I just want to keep playing. I love this game. It's so fun. I don't know what's going to come next. You know what I mean? I do not know what's going to happen next. Like in most games, when you're playing it and you're beating people up or you're shooting, you can see the landscape. Like you can get a feel for what's happening. But this one, no idea. New anti-corruption police is continuing its investigation. Our state that Nina Moreland-led force has discovered a treasure trove of evidence against top oligarchs. Oh, that's good. That is good. Can't wait to have that interaction. Update on the situation. Oh, yes. Here we go. Here we go. Let's take down the oligarchs. Mr. President. By the way, this girl right here, I think I would have, had she been put forward as a vice president, I think I would have picked her. Nina. Mr. President, you asked at the ACP to start an investigation into the oligarchs. We couldn't find anything related to Walter Tusk yet, but there is a silver lining. By sheer luck, we have come across a suspicious link in... Oh, that's where we're at. Or that's not where we're at, but that's a place. She handed over a police report detailing the network of the... Oh, this is the organized crime. A leader was previously found in one of the raids against the cartel. It has contents linking their operation to the subsidiary of the Heart of Suzerain conglomerate. Oh, that's the other guy. That's him. That's the, it won't click on it, but that's the weird looking guy. This is a very big accusation. Are you absolutely sure? Something must have gone wrong in the investigation. This can't be true. I never trusted HOS Incarnate anyway. Without undeniable evidence, there's no point in making assumptions. This is a very big accusation. Are you absolutely sure? The ledger contains several transactions. There is a case to pursue. At any rate, with this new evidence, our case against Mr. Renati goes far past the APC's preview. In fact, we should open a full-blown joint investigation with the Interior Ministry. Obviously, we hope that there is nothing beneath the surface, but if there is any way HOS linked to this organized crime is a powerful figure that won't like a development like this at all. To figure out the truth, more independent investigation needs to be launched. More in-depth. It's really enough to start rounding up suspects. To figure out the truth, a more in-depth investigation needs to be launched. Agreed. So will you allow us to open an investigation? Begin an official investigation to find out if HOS is working with organized crime elements in Estoid. I kind of wanted to go against Tusk, but she found this, so... I will contact Lisa and we'll get to the bottom of this. Expect a report soon. Very well. Meeting adjourned. Looking forward to the results. Do your best. Thank you, Mr. President. She got up and left the room. Call him? Not in a million years. Not in a million years. That's funny. Okay. Come on, we're at an hour. Surely we can do one more. Surely we can do one more. Man, nobody wants to talk to us. Like, nothing is coming out. I figured these guys would have something to say. I figured some of this would have moved. I guess not, though. Alright, back in the capital. What is this? Okay, current healthcare situation. Now we're going to go down to -6 because we have to stop polio. Like, this is going to be fun. Mr. President, I know this seems like a lot. Reviewing it shouldn't take more than a day. Or maybe 2. Very well. Thanks for bringing these in. No problem at all. These contain very important information about the status of our health care, salaries, spendings, hospital reports, whatever you would like. We can go through this together. Okay, let's begin. He continued. But I don't want to bore you, so I will quickly summarize. Okay. So we have concluded our report for the year. Thanks to the allocated funds, we have improved the healthcare in the country overall. I have used the resources to begin a comprehensive health reform. We have more patients treated, less waiting times, and higher treatment quality than in years before. That's great to hear. Thank you for your hard work. Just as I expected, this was a good decision to spend the budget on healthcare. Good. Under my presidency, I want Shortest people to have the best healthcare service they can get. There can't be a more what is that? Violent? A more valiant? Oh, there can't be a more valiant aim. The foundations we laid so far will influence the years to come. We are certainly on the right path to challenge even Lespa or Valsgarland in the matter, but we are not there yet. However, give it a few more years and we might even surpass them. The footsteps of other nations. We will surpass them. Yes, we will. Moving on. Our privatization efforts had both positive and negative effects. It helped us raise further funds that we spent on improving the system. Privatized hospitals opened in many places with top-notch equipment. But on the other hand, privatized hospitals are rather expensive even for the ordinary middle-class citizen. These are the expected growing pains of our healthcare system. There are still public hospitals for lower-class citizens. True, but there is still some disparity in terms of quality. The investments we poured into our rural healthcare facilities has paid off greatly. The quality of the healthcare increased due to the upgraded equipment, and we were able to hire more healthcare staff. Excellent. The people in the countryside deserve better health services. Inequality is our worst enemy, and we are one step closer to beating it. The disparity in services need more efforts to be completely solved. However, the additional funds for the rural areas are a great start. The increase in salaries and all healthcare workers was received very well. The act was a first of its kind, along with salary incentives in rural areas, which reflected in more applications to areas that lacked healthcare staff. High morale and happiness will result in better services. Surely, with the rural incentives, we have more treatment quality in those areas as well. All these efforts have resulted in a clear increase of quality in healthcare services provided to our citizens. He cleared his throat. Now that I have given you the short summary, there is a very important matter to discuss. He leaned over and grabbed his briefcase. He pulled out a tan-colored package. The package was stamped in big red letters. It read, "Confidential." Pascal opened the package and brought out a few documents. He handed them over to me. Take a look. It was a report from the Ministry of Health. Each page had a stamp on it that read, "For the President's eyes only." The report was entitled Polio Outbreak. How bad is it? For now, it seems to be under control. We have put a few villages under quarantine. The total number of infected are currently 1,467. The death toll so far is at 27. If we have more outbreaks, the results will be terrible. Thankfully, we have received these additional fundings to our health care. This should curb the infection ratio, although I am afraid that even that might not be enough. This is a very serious matter, Mr. President. Lives of shortest citizens are at stake. I will do whatever we can to eliminate this threat. What can we do about it? We have done our research. There is a cure, a vaccine that was recently invented in United Cantana by a doctor, and the formula has been made available for free to the entire world. No matter what people think about United Cantana, if the same thing happened in Arcadia, we would be paying the price for it. Thanks to the very good decision made by you to increase the funding of our healthcare, we have the capability to produce this vaccine locally. But I'm afraid simply having the vaccines won't help. We need to make sure that they are administered. We need to implement a nationwide mandatory polio vaccine policy. With your order, I can immediately get to work to ensure we are doing whatever it takes. This might seem excessive, however, but it is absolutely necessary. Do whatever it takes to protect Sorland. Whatever it takes to protect Sorlin, do it. Excellent. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must get to work immediately. He got up and left his seat. Thank you for your time. We just got an achievement called Welfare State. He left me alone in my office. Okay. Ooh, what's this? We got something. Welfare. Epidemic prevented. Yay! The Ministry of Health has stopped the epidemic from spreading. Our actions have prevented a health crisis in Sorland with mandatory vaccinations. Ha! Look at this welfare state. Look at it. That is fantastic. Fantastic. Some successful improvements have relieved the strained welfare system from the worst, but not all the issues are solved. Yeah. Read the report. Protest against gender inequality in education. Yes. We're fixing that. We're fixing it. We're getting there. No more protesting. Stop protesting. Opens first private prisons. Yay! We got our first private prisons. There you go. Smaller cells and stacked bunk beds. Hopefully, one day we're going to get to the point where we can dissolve these private prisons, right? We're not going to need them. Let's keep going. Actually, let me look at the time here. Less smoke bill. Healthcare spending. There is a significant budget left in the Ministry of Health that we can spend on several different programs in order to improve healthcare in Sorland further. Funds could be used to create a medical scholarship, build a state-of-the-art medical school, give free eye test or dental care. Or, if we don't spend any of it, we can roll it back into the budget. And we can do +1. Let's roll it back into the budget. Let's start reaping the benefits of the work we've done here. There we go. We're out at -3. -3. We gotta get this under control. We gotta get this to 0, and we gotta start. We're gonna knock this out of the park. That's gonna get us our last 3 ticks. We're gonna get that to 0. We're gonna do great. Okay. The process of de-solinization has begun, starting with the removal of Tarkansol statue from Capitol Park. By the end of this month, it is expected that hundreds of similar statues, portraits, and other likenesses will be removed from every city and town in Sorland. Ah! You gonna get in my face in a bathroom of a cinema after a delightful show? Get wrecked. Get wrecked. Alright, folks. I think that's where we're going to stop for today. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.